So recently, over 200 companies organized an advertiser boycott on YouTube, where they pulled their advertising budgets off YouTube in protest of some trivial issue. The whole thing was basically over $20 and could have been easily solved by just flagging the videos in question. But YouTube compromises with them and institutes some new advertiser-friendly guidelines that content creators have to adhere to. So let's discuss how that impacts advocacy. So here are the advertiser-friendly guidelines. Let's have a little read of it, shall we? Advertiser-friendly content is content that's appropriate for all audiences. It has little to no inappropriate or mature content in the video stream, thumbnail, or metadata, such as in the video title. If the video does contain inappropriate content, the context is usually newsworthy or comedic, and the creator's intent is to inform or entertain, not offend or shock. So we're not allowed to offend or shock people. That's very important to note here. But let's continue reading. Content that is considered not advertiser-friendly includes, but not limited to, sexually suggestive content, including partial nudity and sexual humor, violence, including display of serious injury and events related to violent extremism, inappropriate language, including harassment, swearing, and vulgar language, promotion of drugs and related substances, including selling, using, and abuse of such items, controversial or sensitive subjects and events, including subjects related to war, political conflicts, natural disasters, and tragedies, even if the graphic imagery is not shown. So we're not allowed to offend people. We're not allowed to shock people. We're not allowed to talk about anything controversial. And it's just so incredibly broad that these guidelines can be applied to pretty much anything, including AS advocacy. For example, if I say that people first language is technically hate speech, there will always be people that are offended by that. If I say we're not drooling invalids that have special needs, there will always be people that think that's a shocking thing to say. If I say that we're not a disability or a disorder, that there isn't any compelling evidence to support that, there will always be people that find that controversial. Do you or do you not want to believe things that are true? Okay? If you don't want to believe falsehoods, we need to be able to talk about and question these things. Okay? We need to be able to debunk nonsense. We need to ask where the evidence is for these claims. Do you see what I'm saying here? We can't represent ourselves accurately or gain acceptance or advocate for Aspergians and Autistics when we can't dispel all these vile and disgusting stigmas that people believe about AS people. Because there will always be people that find it offensive, find it shocking and controversial. And there will always be people that go out of their way to look for things to be offended over. Also, have a look at this part. Inappropriate language, including harassment, swearing, and vulgar language. Now, every time I give legitimate criticism of something or someone, something extraordinarily unimaginable happens, right? You have all these people who are lobotomized to the point where they think that criticism isn't criticism. Instead, they view it as something gross and inappropriate. More than that, they think normal debate and legitimate criticism is somehow problematic. They think, oh, this is attacking people. Oh, it's attacking the community. And they genuinely believe that and even have a sense of self-righteousness to it. I know it may sound almost unbelievable that these people exist, but they do, and it is well documented in my videos. There is all sorts of outright nonsense out there when it comes to the spectrum. And to dispel all these bad ideas and arrive at the truth, we need to be able to discuss and criticize them. That is how we differentiate good ideas from bad ones. Okay, the truth is essentially a product of bad ideas battling it out in an arena called the marketplace of ideas. But under these new guidelines, legitimate criticism will be incorrectly branded as harassment when it's not harassment at all. And that in turn effectively shuts down our ability to challenge and dispel these violent, disgusting stigmas and misconceptions that people have about Aspergians and autistic people. Now, during this advertiser boycott, YouTube actually made quite a foolish decision to harshly enforce these guidelines. So let's have a look at the result of that. So this video here I made in response to all these popular YouTubers that were basically generalizing AS people as being stupid, or they would come across as an incredibly stupid person and foolishly assume that they're on the spectrum. And I did a pretty good job at refuting that, if I must say so myself. Yet if you see the dollar symbol right there, it means that it can't be monetized. Now, I thought that it might be because it had the word stupid in the title, but if you look at the video above it, it has stupid in the title, yet it doesn't have the same problem of demonetization. So yeah, I have no idea what caused it to be demonetized. Apparently we're just not allowed to refute stigma and nonsense, or to represent ourselves in an accurate manner. Now, this video here is talking about suicide prevention, where people give advice to those going through depression and anxiety. Yet, despite being well-meaning, I explain how certain advice isn't exactly a good thing and can be quite detrimental. But I explain it from the Aspergian and autistic perspective. Depression and anxiety is actually quite common for AS people. I actually go into some depth in the video about why that is or might be, but our numbers on this are just absolutely horrible. It's some egregious number like 60%, or roughly 2/3 of Aspergians and Autistics that have actually given serious thought to committing suicide, or have even attempted suicide. So it is quite a serious topic, and absolutely should be something that we should not shy away from. And something that we shouldn't bury deep down inside of us, merely because it's difficult to talk about. Because just talking about these things may help others that go through the same sort of thing. YouTube, however, has a very different say on the matter. They don't want these videos monetized under their new guidelines. I'd like to know what advertisers have a problem with me talking about this sort of thing. Then you have people that say, oh, but that's not censorship, because you're still able to speak and make videos. They're only demonetizing your videos. You're not entitled to their money. Well, except it is censorship. It's not the censorship that comes to mind when you hear the word censorship, but it is indeed a form of censorship. They're basically taking regular music and turning it into elevator music. Yes, you can still make videos and speak, but it's putting severe limitations on that. So what do I mean by that? Well, everyone needs to pay the bills. They need to pay for rent, utilities, internet, food, etc., etc. The cost of living, keeping the lights on, as it were. And you have a limited amount of time for each day to make ends meet and keep the lights on. So you with me so far? Now, making videos takes a lot of time. Doing a different job, that also takes a lot of time. So if you do get paid for making videos, you can use that money to keep the lights on. It means that you get to spend more time making videos and less time working a different job. Whereas if you don't get paid for your videos, you still need to find a way to earn money to keep the lights on. Therefore, you can't spend a lot of time making videos. You instead have to spend more time working a different job. It's a way of limiting speech. By limiting the amount of time content creators can actually spend making videos. It's a way of getting content creators, right, to stop making videos and do something else that does make money so they can keep the lights on. And that's how it's considered a form of censorship, a soft censorship, if you will. And as for the people saying that we're not entitled to their money, that comment comes from people that think YouTube isn't a real job. Okay? And that they think that we just sit in front of a camera and then get free money thrown at us. Well, it's nonsense. It is indeed a job like any other to create content. It's not as simple as people realize. And this advertiser-friendly nonsense, it's anywhere between an 80% to 90% pay cut. If you had an 80 to 90% pay cut for your job, you wouldn't say, oh, you shouldn't complain because you're not entitled to their money. No, you wouldn't. That's absolutely ridiculous. You'd say, holy shit, how am I going to pay the bills now? Even PewDiePie has gone over to Twitch because he's not making money on YouTube. But the reality is that if this advertiser-friendly nonsense with YouTube remains in place, advocacy and our fight for acceptance simply cannot survive under such conditions. However, I'll always be making videos in some capacity or another, because talking about these things is just what we need to do to gain acceptance. It's what we need to accurately represent ourselves and dispel these vile and disgusting stigmas that we have attached to us. It may be that all this drama somehow sorts itself out. It may be that we have to go to other websites to make videos. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen. So because of all this, I highly recommend that you follow me on social media. You can see all the social media contacts and whatnot in the description of my videos. So that way, whatever happens, I'll always keep you guys informed as to what's going on.